Hey y'all, Data Guy here. And today I just wanted to make kind of a quick little Friday video breaking down what I see as really the five main types of data engineers that I'm seeing out in the field today. As data engineering has expanded from a profession that used to encompass like less than 1,000 people in the early 2000s to now being well over 20, 30,000 data engineers out there. There's been a division, or not really a division, but just a specialization data engineers typically tend to take into a few different roles. So I'm going to break down what those roles are for you with an eye on saying, hey, what type of data engineer is the right type for me to kind of pursue? Where do I really want to focus my career? Do I want to be a generalist? Do you want to be a specialist? Do you want to really work with ML and AI a lot? Or do you really just enjoy backend systems and building pipelines? Whatever you're really interested in the field of data engineering, there's a specialty for you. And so that's what we're going to dive into today. And so just thought this was just kind of a good primer image to think about, hey, the different principles that you kind of get pulled in different directions for depending on the type of data engineer you're going to be. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here I have really a graphic that kind of shows off the first three main types of data engineers that are probably like the three core data engineering archetypes from really just the early days of data engineering. And so first I'll start kind of at the top left and then go clockwise around. So the generalist data engineer. Generalist data engineers often are working in smaller companies or startups where you're handling a wide range of data tasks and you don't necessarily have a super focused role. And in this kind of environment, your responsibilities are going to be developing and maintaining data pipelines, integrating data from different sources, figuring out how to do that, figuring out how to ensure data quality, and then also likely going to be supporting a lot of different teams within your business. Most commonly, the data analytics and reporting functions are who you're going to be your primary partners, but you really are going to be touching every part of the business if you're a generalist data engineer, especially at really small companies. And so people that are in this role need to be very versatile and adaptable. So you got to be able to wear many hats because your organization is going to have a lot of different needs, and you're going to be the one guy that's going to need to go in there and actually accomplish them. Now, some of the pros of this role are versatility. You're going to be gaining experience across many different aspects of data engineering. You're going to really help build your toolkit very quickly and develop that really wide range of skills. You're going to know how to do ETL processes. You're going to know how to develop data warehouse schemas, run the analytics and process data sets ready for analytics. And you're also going to have a lot of visibility. You can actually have a lot of direct impact on your company's success if you're like one of a couple of data engineers at a small company, because you're going to have such a wide breadth of responsibilities. However, on the cons side of thing, and there are a few, you're going to be a jack of all trades, which may prohibit you from really getting deep in expertise in any one field. And you're often going to be dealing with limited resources. You're going to not be able to pay for every cool tool you want to use. And there's definitely potential for overwork, where if you're just asked to put on too many hats and balance too many responsibilities and you're not good at managing those, or telling your team that you need another data engineer on the team, you can quickly burn out if you're not prepared there. And so suitability, generalist roles are pretty well suited for individuals that really enjoy the variety in their work, the quick learners, you're adaptable to changing needs, and you really thrive on that challenge. And if you have a passion for continuous learning, you're probably going to find this role pretty fulfilling. Now, the second type of data engineer I have for you is the pipeline-centric data engineer. So pipeline-centric data engineers are focused primarily on building and then maintaining data pipelines. And so they ensure that data flows efficiently from source systems to your data warehouses, your data lakes. And this role involves a ton of time spent working with ETL processes. That's going to be your bread and butter. That's what you're going to be doing most of the time. And with that comes data integration and then sometimes real-time data processing. If your business requires a really fast updating system, you need to do like real-time fraud detection or something similar. And so some of the pros of this role are specialization. You're going to develop really deep expertise in how to design super efficient data pipelines. You're going to know all the technologies involved, and you're also likely going to get to work on more of the scaling and stability side of things. Working on optimizing your pipelines to handle large volumes of data efficiently, getting deep in the weeds, tweaking queries, things like that. And you're also going to need to make sure those pipelines are stable. You're typically going to be working in environments where maintaining a robust data flow is really critical to the business, and if there's any downtime, you could lose your job. So that is, obviously that's an extreme example, but it is true. In some roles, hey, if your pipelines go down, you're out of luck. And so some cons of this role are you may miss out on a lot of other aspects of data engineering, like data modeling, analytics, doing data schema modeling, and with that comes kind of potential monotony, where you have tasks that can just become repetitive over time. And then also your dependency on tools. If you're not given the right tools to succeed and build successful pipelines, you can really have limited flexibility, and it can just be a pain if you're working with really bad, outdated tooling, and you're trying to do a cloud modernization. It's going to be difficult. It's going to suck for a bit. So this role is really ideal for individuals that really enjoy solving deep technical challenges related to data flows and scalability and stability. So if you have a really keen interest in system optimization, performance tuning, or working with large data sets, you'll probably excel in this kind of role. Now, the third type of data engineer I have for you is the database-centric data engineer. So database-centric data engineers really specialize in designing, building, and managing databases. They focus on database architecture, data modeling, indexing, query optimization, and their primary goal is just ensuring that databases are performant, reliable, and scalable. And so some of the pros of this role, and reasons why you might find it interesting are, number one, you'll get a really in-depth and deep understanding of database technologies, how they work, best practices. You're going to get to go, again, deep in the weeds on performance optimization, working on really complex problems related to database performance and efficiency. And oftentimes, if you have an engineer dedicated just to your database, you're going to be working on mission-critical systems that are really central to your organization's operations. So if you like being, really in the hot seat and working on, super critical applications, it's a cool role. Some cons, similarly to the pipeline-centric data engineer, you're probably not going to engage in more broad data engineering tasks like pipeline development, data integration. You're going to be more siloed, I would say, too. Typically, database engineers are really just kind of off on their own within an organization. And then also with technical debt, if you have to manage legacy databases, it can be super challenging and time-consuming just dealing with all the limitations of them. And then also the specialization here with databases, if you specialize too deeply into one type, you can kind of limit your career flexibility too. So make sure you have an eye on that, or at least invest in a database that will have a really long shelf life. And so this is suitable for engineers that love database technologies and really like getting in the weeds and solving those complex data storage and retrieval problems. And also meticulous attention to detail. That's really key to this role. You got to love finding out the little things. Personally, not for me, but some people love it. And then, so people who appreciate working in those foundational systems will probably find this position most rewarding, even if it does seem boring to some. Now, my third engineer I want to talk about, or fourth, sorry, is the analytics engineer. And I thought this is actually a great kind of little Venn diagram of showing what analytics data engineers are, or for short, analytics engineers. They really are bridging the gap between data engineering and data analytics, and bringing business domain expertise with the software engineering expertise that is, really, think about data engineering, it's software engineering these days, as many data engineers like to think. And so they were kind of bridging the gap of saying, hey, we're not just going to be siloed over here as a data engineer, but we're actually going to be really closely tied to the business domain and have an eye on preparing data for analysis, creating data marts, and supporting the needs of the data scientists and analysts, and making sure that, hey, this data is actually getting used to help drive our business. And so this role often involves working really closely with business stakeholders to understand their data needs and then translate those into technical solutions. So the role is very cross-functional. You're going to gain experience working with both technical and business teams, and it's pretty impactful work. You're going to be directly contributing to business insights, decision-making, working on a mix of data engineering and data analysis tasks. However, on the downside of that side of things is it's kind of a balancing act. You got to juggle the demands of both data engineering and analytics, and there's some ambiguity there too because you're going to face unclear requirements. There's going to be shifting requirements from business stakeholders, and so you need to know how to manage that and also translate what they're saying with what they actually need. And then finally, limited technical depth. You might not gain the deep technical expertise in pure data engineering tasks because you're kind of further down the data pipeline, if you will, where you're more focused on the kind of the last line transformation. And so this role really suits individuals who are really strong communicators. If you enjoy working collaboratively across teams and you want to, you have an interest in both technical and business aspects of data, this is a good role for you. People who are adaptable and capable of translating those business requirements into technical solutions are gonna excel in this position. And so if that describes you, you should look at being an analytics engineer. Now, the final type of engineer I have for you, data engineer I have for you, is a machine learning engineer. And so very recent career choice, with the explosion of ML and AI workflows, there have always been a few ML engineers for like the past decade, so not always, but really in the past couple of years, for obvious reasons, you've seen an explosion. And they really specialize in creating and managing the data pipelines and infrastructure that are needed to support machine learning models, which is incredibly significant. So they're working closely with data scientists to ensure that data is available, it's clean, it's ready for model training and inference. And thus, this role often involves working with large-scale data processing frameworks, deploying ML models in production, and just working to really drive your company's ML initiatives forward. So pros of this role: cutting edge work. You have really the opportunity to work on the most advanced ML and AI projects. You get to collaborate and work closely with data scientists and ML engineers, and really do some cool stuff. And also the technical challenges. There's tons of complex problems to be solved in data processing and model deployment and scalability and the machine learning models themselves. So getting to solve those complex problems is super interesting. And so if you like that idea, it's probably for you. But on the downside, that kind of complexity isn't for everyone. Not everyone wants to work on the cutting edge because the work can be technically challenging. It requires a really strong foundational understanding of both data engineering and machine learning. And because it's bleeding edge, it's a very rapidly evolving field, so you've got to keep up with new tools, frameworks, best practices, all that kind of stuff. And then also, just because everything's kind of so new, ensuring that seamless integration between tools can be pretty difficult. So dealing with the new startups for ML, integrating them into your legacy stack, it can be difficult sometimes. So this role is really perfect for individuals that are passionate about machine learning and data science. If you enjoy tackling complex technical problems and you want to just be up to date, you want to be working on the latest and greatest things in the field, you're going to find this position really rewarding. But those are all the data engineers that I really see out there in the ecosystem today. And each type of data engineer, they play a crucial role in the data ecosystem. They bring their own unique skills, and it's really just about deciding, hey, which one of these roles is the best fit for you. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Data Guy out.